So again, welcome everyone to our monthly workshop series. This is our February edition. And for those of you who may not be familiar with CIELO, this might be maybe your first time joining one of our programming or one of our events. Who is and what is CIELO? Well, we want to do a quick introduction. We are a nonprofit organization helping aspiring entrepreneurs become business owners. We help you build and develop entrepreneur mindset needed to help you achieve success. We provide the resources and the guidance, and you provide the hard work and the passion. And being that we are a nonprofit, all of our programming is at no cost to our clients. So anything that we do not charge for. In terms of programs and services that we do offer, we do have a small business development training program. We offer it in both English and Spanish. It's a 6-week course, and we offer it periodically throughout the year. If you'd like to know more information about this, please feel free to email us at info@cielocommunity.org, or you can find us at our website, cielocommunity.org. And if you're interested in starting a childcare business, we do have a childcare business incubator. For more information, feel free to contact childcare business at cielocommunity.org. And also go ahead and follow our website to be able to know when our next cohort for that would be starting. We do offer a monthly workshop series, which all of you are here for that. We have different topics every single month, led by our partner and friend, Jessica Anguiano. We also offer one-on-one small business coaching, which we do with our clients and also as part of our programming. We do want to be a resource for navigation and support while you're on your journey for entrepreneurship. And we do offer microgrants for our clients that do complete our small business development training program. If you go through our program, you may be eligible to apply for a microgrant. In terms of upcoming events, we do have our next version of our monthly workshop series, which is a continuation of this actual topic. Unlock the impact of marketing channels to grow your business, once again led by Maravillosa Movement. And that will be in March 26, 2025, which is the last Wednesday. We hold these workshops the last Wednesday of every month from 4 to 5 p.m. on Zoom. Registration's already open, so if you're to see that QR code, and we'll drop the link in the chat as well too. But if you want to go ahead and register already, that's already open. So registration is open for that. Just some reminders, an email will be sent out by the end of the week with both, with these three things: a copy of the presentation that we're having today, a recording of the presentation that we're having today as well too, along with the guest speaker contact information. And any questions you may have, feel free to put it in the chat, or we'll also make sure to have some time to be able to answer any questions at the end as well, and also throughout the actual presentation. With that said, let's go ahead and move on to today's topic. Today's topic is become an expert on your ideal customer. For those of you who have gone through our small business startup training program, this is a big, heavy topic that we talk about a lot, either during our training program or during a one-on-one. So I'm real happy to have our friend and partner, Jessica Anguiano, founder of the Maravillosa Movement, here today to discuss more about this topic. So with that said, Jessica, I'll go ahead and pass the floor on to you.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Alex, for this wonderful intro. I'm so excited to be here, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that has made time out of their busy schedule to be here. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, my goal is for you to learn maybe 2 to 3 new things that you can apply to your business. So let me go ahead and get started here. All right. So becoming an expert on your ideal customer or also client. I was actually debating whether I should use customer or client, but I just felt like customer was more like the common word that we use to describe those who purchase from us. But becoming an expert on your ideal customer or your ideal client is super crucial, and Just a quick disclosure, this presentation is a little bit loaded, so I am gonna skim through some slides just to be able to give you some key information. But like Alex mentioned, we will be sharing this PowerPoint presentation, so you can always go back and jot some of those notes. And in the event that you do have a question, this is a good way to get introduced or continue to work with CIELO so they can further assist you. A little bit about a Maravillosa movement. I operate in two different dynamics. I operate working with women that are already marvelous. Marvelous in Spanish is maravillosa. I believe that everyone that wants to be an entrepreneur, it's already in their blood. And I'm just here to provide you with the resources and all the support that I can to help you elevate in your business. One thing that it's very important for me is that you take care of your mental well-being while working with me. I know that having a business could be super, super stressful, but that's where the resources come in. Every time that there is a challenge, most likely there is a solution. The other way that I work is my dynamic too, right? With mental well-being, once again, being at the core of my mission. I work with other organizations that have a similar mission as mine to be able to uplift small businesses. So here below are just a few of the ones that I have worked very closely with. So hopefully this is not the first time that we're making contact here, but if it is, I hope that we continue to work together. Now, what inspired Maravillosa movement? My mother had a business for about 3 years and lost it within two. I watched my mother pour her heart and her savings into her flower shop in Los Angeles, San Pedro to be more accurate, San Pedro and San Julian. I think it was the other street. Um, she lost her business within 3 years. One, for the lack of resources, and of course, she got hit with the recession. And I saw how much that business hurt her, not only financially, but emotionally. And not only that, it also trickled down to me as the oldest daughter. So this is why I'm like, okay, I need to do something where I'm uplifting small businesses, but that's why I have the mental health component into it, because I know that if you struggle, it's not just your business, it's you too. So now let's get into what we're here for. I also have an icebreaker. If you can scan this QR code, if you have been in my presentations before, I believe you have already experienced some of my icebreakers, and I hope that you have been enjoying them. Alex, if you can drop the link as well. But it's very easy. All you have to do is scan the QR code. I'll give it a quick few seconds. All right. So I am gonna get started just to be mindful of the time. All right. The first question is, how well do you know your target market or ideal customer? Number one, I believe everyone is my customer. Number two, I have a general idea, but it's not clear. Number three, I have a clear and detailed idea. I'm sorry, I have a clear and detailed ideal customer in mind. And the fourth one is I'm still figuring it out. Now, there is no wrong answer here, and all your answers are anonymous. This is just for me to have an idea of where you guys stand as a group. So once again, I believe everyone's my customer. I have a general idea, but it's not clear. I have a clear and detailed ideal customer in mind. I'm still figuring out. Okay. So the popular one is I have a general idea, but it's not clear. Wonderful. I actually love that answer because that is the reason why you guys are here. And hopefully, I bring in some more clarification for you. Now, if you had to sell your product or service to a group of people, who would say yes first? Who would it be? Now, it may not apply, but if it doesn't apply, like who is the closest to it? And if you don't have a business yet, who would you like them? Who would be the person that you think would buy from you the most? So we have kids 0 to 5, young adults from 25 to 30, professional and parents 35 to 45, older adults 50 and up. I'm conflicted. I have no idea. Now, quick clarification. I know for the most part, kids under 5 years old don't have any money. I am aware of that. But in the event that you are selling a service or a product that is meant to be for kids, then that would be your answer. Okay. And then move on to the next one. Well, there we go. So we got young adult, professional, and parents, the most popular ones. If you had to sell your product or service, who would say yes first? A high school college student, a busy professional, a parent, or a retiree? Okay. One more answer? Okay, we have a little bit of everything. This is cool. Okay, next one. Which statement best describes the role your product service plays in the lives of your ideal customer? So, looking at your what you currently offer, does it solve a specific problem? Does it or is it more because it brings joy, excitement and entertainment? Or it enhances their lifestyle? An example is you're providing a solution to make their life a little bit better. And then the last one is an essential tool that cannot live without. What I mean is if you're selling water, right? That is one thing that we can't live without. Okay. I love that we have a little mixture of everything. It solves a specific problem and oh, they're moving. Okay. So again, there is no right or wrong answer. However, I do want to let you know that I don't care what is it that you sell. You are always going to be solving a problem. I don't care if you sell sweets because we all have a sweet tooth and you might be solving that problem of me wanting cookies right now. So awesome. So I hope that, and I should have told you this from the very beginning, that you guys keep a note of this. All of this answers that you're providing me with is actually something that you're going to utilize when creating your ideal client's profile. And then I think this is the last one. If your ideal customer disappeared for a day, where would you find, where would you look first to find them? An example is, and this is more of a narrowed example, but every time I go to like Nordstrom Rack and I get quotation mark lost from my husband, the first place that he looks at, and he has actually told me this, is the shoe aisle. because he knows he's going to find me there. So now when it comes to your business, if you're if you are selling health insurance, maybe a good place to find your customers would be at a health fair. If you are providing coaching services, maybe at networking event. Okay, that's a really great answer. Hospital or Facebook. Court. Yes, let's use social medias too. If you're having a hard time at location, go ahead and use social media. LinkedIn, Comic Shop or Comic Con. Ooh, that's a fun one. Okay. Court. Ooh, that sounds like legal paperwork assistance. Local coffee roaster. Social media and art fairs. I love this. Again, take note if you are typing in, take note of where you would find this individual. Okay, so that was it. Thank you so much for participating in this icebreaker of mine. Once again, there's no right or wrong answers. It's just to help me gauge uh where you guys stand. Okay. And just give me 1 second. I always lose my windows. Okay. Going back to the presentation. Okay, so what I keep talking about ideal customer. And then once you start digging in a little bit deeper, then you're gonna start seeing ICP. You might hear avatar, you might hear persona. It has so many different names. But basically, what an ideal customer profile or an ideal customer alone or client is a person or a business that perfectly fits your products or services that you offer and someone that benefits from what you're selling. An ideal client profile is the actual, like where we actually give it a name, a face, a lifestyle, demographics. That's an ideal client profile. And you'll see it online as an ICP. Um, this is very important, especially later on when we start getting more deeper into business. Who knows, you might want to go to Shark Tank one day and they're going to ask you, who is your ideal customer? What is your ideal client profile looks like? This is where we want to avoid to say, well, everyone. We can't have everyone on this profile because unfortunately it's not everyone, right? I always think about always selling a cheeseburger to a fit person. No matter what you tell this person, how delicious, how amazing this burger is, and it's if you take a bite, uh, it's something out of the world, out of this world. They're gonna be, I don't care. I just don't consume that type of food. So, but then you can find you're spending all your energy trying to convince this person when you probably have a whole community looking for you. The power of an ideal customer profile also it is shown that when someone has a customer profile, their conversion rates increases from 20 to 50% compared to those that don't have an idea or they're just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that they get a customer. So have a clear understanding of who they are so we can be within this 20, 50% and even a higher percentage in targeting these individuals. For those who are business to business, the conversion rate is 2 to 5%. But those with stronger ICPs, which again, ideal client profiles, can reach from 5 to 10% higher. Targeting the right audience gives you higher conversions. You're wasting less time on those that well, you're using your time on those that really matter, and it doesn't become exhausting. So, according to Harvard Business Review article, 5 to 25 times. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's do this over again. According to Harvard Business, acquiring a new customer, okay, this is us trying to get a new customer, can cost 5 to 25 times more than retaining an existing one. Why do you think that is? Feel free to add it in the chat box and chat amongst you guys. Why do you think it costs more to get a new customer versus retaining the ones that you already have? I hope that I have convinced you that having an ideal customer is super important. So let's dig in a little bit more. So here we go again. Instead of spending our time trying to find that new customer, I want you to know that your ideal client or your customer is already looking for you. If you're on the clear on who they are, they're naturally going to be drawn to you. The problem is that many businesses owners waste time chasing the wrong crowd instead of making it easy for the right people to find them. Right? So if we keep the description of our products super broad instead of actually using niche words or keywords that your customer is looking for, they're going to have a hard time looking for you online or wherever it is that you're at. Your ideal customers have specific words, phrases, emotions that they connect with. And if you can mirror their language in your marketing, they're going to feel like you get them. So let me tell you guys a story of this young girl back in 2007. Younger Jess was a full-time student, and I'm talking about she was taking 5 classes, and she was working full-time, and on top of that, she was a single mother. So she pretty much had no life, always was like on zero sleep, and every morning was super chaotic. And, it was getting herself ready, getting her son ready, dropping him off to daycare, going to school, and she was always late. And there was never time for breakfast. There was never time for coffee. She desperately was craving a sip of caffeine, but Starbucks lines were super long. She couldn't even do that. And you always caught her saying, this is back in 2007. I wish there was a way to get coffee delivered without stopping. Wouldn't that be magical for Prince Charming to just come to my door and say, here you go, here is your coffee? Well, as we all know, the birth of delivery apps was born. Smartphones changed everything, and companies saw an opportunity to bring restaurants to people's fingertips. My prayers were answered. In 2011, Grubhub and in other apps delivered these platforms. And then around 2013 and 2015, other platforms such as Uber Eats, Postmates, DoorDash were born as well. And then, yeah, they blew up during COVID. So always remember that your customers, this is just to draw the picture for you, that your customers are wishing for your existing if they don't know that you exist. So I'm going to give you 3 steps to identify who your target market is, your ideal customer, or your persona, right? Everything that I just mentioned is the same thing. Who is your target market? Just I have a hard time. I don't know who they are, or I kind of have an idea, but I'm not sure if I'm on the right track. Hopefully, these 3 steps help you identify who they are. So, the number one thing you want to do is understand your business and your value. First, you have to understand what you offer and what you're selling. What problems do you solve, right? Briefly discuss your product or service. What makes you different? Okay. What makes you one in a million? Okay. There could be 1,000 consultants in one room. I guarantee you there's only going to be two that probably catch my attention. And this is why it's important that you identify what your customers need and what is it that they're finding value in your product. We can all be Cokes here, right? Or colas. There we go. We can all be colas here. Are you a Shasta Cola? Are you a Coca-Cola? Or are you a Poppy Cola? All three are colas and not, I don't want to, they all have their purpose. Shasta is more affordable. Coca-Cola is more classic, better quality. And Poppy is more health conscious and trendy. So if you were to be a cola, which one would you be? And again, there is nothing wrong with either or. You may want to be helping your community save money by offering them the Shasta one. There's some people that don't mind paying the extra cost to get what's classic, what's universal, what's better quality. Same thing. Sometimes we'll go to the store and we'll find store brands. I don't mind store brands. Um, so yeah, I hope that the Coke or the cola example gives you an idea of how to categorize yourself. Are you more, is it more that you're offering affordable? Is it more that you're offering more universal, classic, quality? Or is there a niche behind your product? Number two, step number two, analyze your current customers. So if you are already in business, think of those who go the extra mile to work with you. So in the chat box while I'm talking about this slide, drop your location in the chat and then tell us the farthest customer you have ever received. So for example, if you live in Los Angeles and your furthest customer was in Arizona, I would add that. Or it could be you live in Los Angeles and you got a customer from Walmart, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Now, an example I can give you is I just recently tried the lamination on eyebrows. I was super scared. And I just fell in love with the content of this young lady on social media, and she happened to be in Pasadena. I live about an hour away from Pasadena, and believe me, I will continue to go to Pasadena. Think about who are your best customers. What do they have in common? Not with you, but what do they have in common amongst them? Are they all women? Are they all men? They're both women and men, but they're both doctors. It can go so many different ways. Okay. So I hope that as you're jotting down these notes that you keep them so that it can help you moving forward. Have they given you any feedback? Have you noticed that 3 of them have told you, have you thought of maybe doing X, Y, and Z? What challenges what challenges do they face that make them seek you out? All right. Step number 3, research and refine your ideal audience. Now that we have a better idea of who this, we had gathered some pieces, right? Now we can dive in a little bit deeper. What are their demographics? Meaning their age, gender, income level, geographic locations. We want to get their psychographics, which means more of their lifestyle, their values, their beliefs, their interests, their hobbies. What are some of their pain points, challenges, needs, and desires? What are some of their buying habits? Where do they shop? What influences their decisions? So these are ways that you can analyze your customers. Um, so you already have a visual in mind. Okay, it seems like I have more female entrepreneurs as customer, or I feel like I have older men for my product. You can go a little bit deeper and look at your customer analytics. If you have a website, look at your analytics, look at your social media insights, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Spotify. If you don't have a social media, I highly encourage you to have one as soon as possible, even if you haven't launched your business. How become an expert on the product or the service that you're selling, maybe just giving out tips and pointers, because all of this is going to help you to gather following. And then from there, you can analyze a little bit deeper those demographics. If you do any customer feedback or surveys, even verbal feedback, I know anytime I attend to a webinar or a workshop, they ask a couple questions. All of these are key information to help you continue to either continue offering those workshops or, just change things around. If you have CRM data, go ahead and use that as well. You can do transaction history. I know that I haven't done any these types of transactions, but I know like if you were to use Square, it'll give you an idea of like either selling, if you're like a soap company, it'll tell you what scent you're selling the most. Salesforce, HubSpot, sales data, customer support data, social listening and reviews. See what they're saying on social media, if anyone's mentioning you, if you're on Yelp. I would highly encourage you to get yourself on Google My Business. It's free. And this is another way that people can actually um, reach out to you. They could, if they were to find you on Google My Business and let's say I'm in the middle of nowhere and I'm looking for a restaurant and I find this restaurant and I'm not familiar with the area, if I were to click the address, it will take me there. Part of the data will tell me how many people actually clicked to give me a call or to get into my social media or to get directions. Here's an example. I have a podcast called Be That I Wish I Knew Then. Semi shameless plug, but I wanted to show you how I use my analytics. So on this podcast, I'm able to tell that the majority of my listeners are female, and we're at 90%. And I was actually shocked that there is a 7.2. There is a little tiny, tiny group of males that listen to me. Um, so another thing that I was looking at is the ages. My top listeners are between 35 years old and 44. And then there is this little tiny, tiny jump between 23 to 27 years old and 28 to 34. Though barely 1% is, or a little bit over 1%. It's more that listens to me between the ages of 23 and 27. So this will give me an idea of the content that I should continue to share, or also is telling me that my content is resonating to those that I was intending to talk to. So, understanding your target market or your ideal customer is going to help you also to tailor your messaging. Your messaging becomes sharper and more relevant, addressing your client's pain points, desire, and values. Remember, you're going to be using keywords. It's gonna help you tailor your pitch and your pricing by clearly understanding their budgets, their expectations, that you can set a pricing to reflect the value that you provide. Now, pricing is an example I can give you, right? If you are giving coaching services, let's say to help them in their careers, and your prices are over $1,000 for X amount of weeks. Well, a high school student that is I'm sorry, a student that is just right out of high school, hoping that they're landing their job, are not going to be able to afford your services and maybe don't even care about your services. They're still young. I don't care. I'll still get a job at Domino's or you know, at a retail store where they're just trying to dip their toe into adult life. Now, the best thing that I love about understanding your target market or your ideal customer is that you get peace and rejection. I want to say that one more time. You're going to get peace and rejection. When a customer says no, you'll be at peace knowing that either they're not the right person, they're not the right customer, or you may know that they are, but you just need to tailor your approach and understanding in pitching your services to them. So this allows you to focus on those that are truly aligned without doubting your worth. They can tell you, I want to do your services so bad, but at the moment I am struggling financially, or I probably can't afford you, but I will come back. And I guarantee you that if they truly, truly want, they will move the moon and the stars to be able to hire you. Now, talking about tailor messaging, here's an example. I was really digging through my emails because I knew that I had come across this before. So yes, I had a Yahoo account I still do. I don't use it anymore, but my Yahoo account back in 2019, the headline said, "Hey babe, don't ghost us. Here's 30% off." Now, that language is very, very specific. I actually also around this time I was working doing displays for I actually ended up working for Forever 21, but I used to do visual merchandising at stores, and even when I applied for jobs, it said, "Hey babe, thank you for your interest in working with us." And when I first got it, I thought that was kind of weird because I came from the education industry into fashion, and then to be treated at one point very proper to, "Hey, babe." This is where people can get a little weirded out if they're not your, if we're not targeting the right people, right? So if you're calling me, "Hey, babe," and I'm weirded out, most likely I'm probably not your customer. I didn't mind this back in 2019. I see it kind of funny now. But also, um, ghosting or ghost was a slang word that started to be used a lot in 2019. In 2021, we moved to bestie. "Hey, bestie." So, as you can see, they're calling me bestie. Okay, so that's just an idea of what your tailor messaging can look like. It's okay for you to talk like this if your customers are okay with you. Now, very quickly, oh my God, we're running out of time here, but very quickly in the chat box, let me know if you were a lipstick line, who would you consider your ideal customer or your target market? Is it Janina, the beauty blogger? Is it Tristan, the wealthy husband? Is it Margarita, the retired fashionista? So if you guys can add it in the chat box, who do you think is your target market or the ideal customer here for your lipstick line? I can't see, so I'm gonna move on. But the right answer would be Janina, the beauty blogger, because she reviews and showcases every lipstick trend and shade. So that means that every time that you come up with a new shade, best believe Janina is going to be in line because that is also part of her job to review lipsticks. Now, Tristan, yes, he's a healthy husband. We get that. Who doesn't who doesn't like wealthy people here as customers? But here's the thing. Tristan loves to surprise his wife with thoughtful gifts every year, each time focusing on a different theme. So one year he is buying your lipsticks, but next year you won't see him anymore because he's going to be buying spa experiences or fancy jewelry. Now, Margarita, on the other hand, could probably want it. She sounds like she could be your customer. But here's the thing about Margarita. With years of experience in the industry, she loves to express herself. She's not afraid of fashion. So, also, she's not loyal to any brand. So, she might come once in a while, but not as often as Janina. Now, we call this target I'm so sorry. I misplaced the words here, but I will correct it before we send it to you. So there is your target market, and then the target audience should be target segmentation. Okay? So your target market would be the broader group that could benefit from your product or service and keeps coming to you, and a the target segmentation will be the specific segment within that market that you're actively communicating with, right? So if the bloggers in the ages between, I don't know, let's say 25 to 30 are the ones that keep buying your product, and then you have that second group, then that would be your segmentation. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't spend any time marketing to them, but they shouldn't take majority of your time marketing to them. Now, here is a creation of ideal customers. This is how you go about creating an ideal customer. Here is Marco. He is a blue wave. He's a plumber with Blue Wave Plumbing. So this is how we created a profile for his ideal customer. We got Sarah and Darren, ages 30 to 65 years old. Now, here in under genders, I want you to take a note of this. Genders, he doesn't care what gender they are, as long as they are home owners. Why do you think that gender doesn't matter to him as long as they're homeowners? Go ahead and add it in the chat box just to get those thoughts going. Okay, so Sarah, here's a little bit about more of an example of a psychographic. Sarah and Darren are a busy couple who just bought their first home. They take pride in keeping everything in top shape, but don't have the time or skills to fix any major issues themselves. However, their home is older and often has piping issues. The problem is that the pipes are bursting all the time. They're clogged, they're leaking, and their challenges is that they need emergency repairs, but they have the fear of overpriced services or hidden fees. They do their search methods through Google, through word of mouth, online. And why is all of this information important to you? I don't know what the comments said in about why does it matter to Darren. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter to the plumber what gender they are as long as they are homeowners. Because once again, no matter how beautiful of magic work this plumber does, he won't be able to sell his services to renters because they don't have control of making those decisions. They might have influence, but they don't have the power to make the decisions. So this is why I want to let you know that not everyone is your client. Now, also, here are a lot of keywords when it comes to creating your content on social media. Um, in here, there is a lot of keywords to help you know where to market yourself. So while social media is amazing, in this case, for this plumber, it's actually not the best. For him, it's actually Google, maybe Yelp, maybe doing more referral sales um, and online reviews. Okay, here is my podcast ideal listener. So I do want to let you know that when it comes to you creating the profile, there is no right or wrong way to do it, to be honest. There is a lot of templates out there you can even use. I'll send Cielo some places that you can find templates, and I'll give you this template as well. But I created one for myself for the podcast. I gave her a name. I got a random girl on Pexels.com. Pexels.com is a website that lets you use free photos. I gave her a background. I gave her biggest challenges. I gave her fears, lifestyle, and family culture. And based on what I added here, right? Millennial, Latina, she speaks primarily English and broken Spanish, loves Spanglish humor. If you were to take the time to listen to my podcast, you can tell I am talking to millennials. You can tell that I'm talking to Latina, and my podcast is Spanglish. So for those that don't speak Spanish, may still enjoy my podcast, but may lose part of the topic if they don't understand Spanish, because I'll go on tangents and then literally change it into Spanish, right? I've had men that have told me, "Oh, so I'm not a listener." I was like, "Well, I don't know if you like to talk about girl dilemmas or girl whatever the case is, right?" It doesn't mean that they're not welcome to listen. It's just that they might not find it relatable. Then I created an ideal client for Maravillosa movement. As you can see, this one is also different. I gave her a background, I gave her a career journey, I gave her leadership, a mantra, yo soy mi propia fuerza, which means I am my own strength. Belle lives by this mantra, embodying resilience and determination. So that's just kind of like how I design any curriculum that is for my one-on-one clients when helping them uplift them with their businesses. Sorry, I'm speeding up a little bit because of the time. But here is another example of Maravillosa movement, what I discovered. So I went to this workshop, or no, it was like a conference. There was about 200 women. And they asked me when I was talking about my target market, they're like, well, you're mentioning everything that we're not. And I was a little embarrassed. I didn't know what to say. And then I was like, well, because, and then they're like, but we like you. And I see the work that you're doing and we need your work. So then I went into my social media for Maravillosa movement, and you can see that they were correct. 35 to 44, 45 to 54. They're correct. So I had to make a change. I had to make change. And this is why it's always important that you have your persona, because that's going to be changing with time. Maybe people will outgrow your product or service, or there's a lot of things that can happen. So with that being said, Maravillosa Movement now has a target segmentation. So we saw Valeria, and now I have created Sandra, who is a little bit older. It's blank because um, I still need to fill it in. And how did I come up with Sandra? Honestly, the name, you can come up with the name however you want. But I came up with this person's name, Sandra, because they reminded me of my mother in a younger, just slightly younger. So my mother's name is Sandra. So now every time that I'm designing curriculum around this market, I think of Sandra. Here is the mood boards. just to inquire some inspiration. Now, what is the difference between a mood board and a vision boards? I know that vision boards are super popular. Mood boards focus more on conveying the aesthetic and emotional elements, and the vision board serves more as motivational tools that represent personal goals. So you get to capture emotions such as client loyalty, professional, inspire action, and it just makes your brand unique. How do you create a mood board? Just sort of like a vision board, right? But instead, you're going to be focusing on getting emotion. You want to get color. You want to get lifestyle. So, this is my own mood board that I created for Maravillosa Movement. I was just thinking about women empowerment. And then also we said that we were going to talk about branding kit, right? So the mood board can easily help you create your branding. I had a client where when we worked with our persona, she's like, "Oh my God, I'm working on my website. This is perfect." So she was able to give her web designer her mood board along with her persona profile. Here's another example. This is actually my husband's work. This is the colors and stuff that he was able to come up based on their ideal client. This is actually a new employer for him. So he redesigned their logo. And the first question that he asked is, who is your ideal customer? So he works for a staffing agency and he was able to rebrand the whole thing and just know that you can have your logo look two different ways and still know that it's the same thing. So I just kind of wanted to show that to you. Um, and then she's going to be my last example. I did have three here, but I just wanted to dig a little bit deeper on how amazing entrepreneurs are out there. Um, Yvonne Armenta, her content captures empowerment, authenticity, community by sharing public speaking tips, cultura, storytelling, and personal insights. Um, I was lucky to ask Yvonne if I can use her as an example. She said absolutely. So I just want to let you guys know that I had her blessing. But she, part of one of her captions was, "Tell your cousins, siblings, tia, the whole neighborhood, it's time to step into our public speaking era." So to me, Yvonne is doing such a great job with her marketing, and she is speaking in a way where she is relating to those individuals that she's actually targeting. Um, Here's a little bit more about her. She's really good on using her branding as well. And then I'm going to click on her to see if we can hear her talk a little bit, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Oh, it's probably.
Community for Latinas and introverts to practice their public speaking con cultura. Mucho gusto. And I'd say I'm currently in that enthusiastic growth phase where everything about growing my business is extremely exciting to me. From launching the first ever Spanglish public speaking con cultura practice prompts, which by the way, it took an entire year to
So I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of her personality. I guarantee you, because I have the experience, that I can create a persona for her based on her content. I can do it the backward way, right? I'm sure she has her own persona, but she's doing such a great job that I'm able to create one based on how she carries herself on social media platforms. And with that being said, because of time, I'm not going to be able to get to the next girls. But if you join our next workshop, I promise you that I will tell you guys a little bit more about them. The next workshop, so once you identify who your ideal customer is, it goes into the 4 Ps, right? It makes it a lot easier for you to identify what is your product, your price, where can you promote your items, and what type of promotion you should be utilizing. So with that being said, again, our next workshop is unlocking the impact of marketing channels to grow your business. We invite you to attend. And I would just like you to invite you to connect with me on social media platforms. But that is it for today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessica. I know we went a little bit over, but I hope you all got a lot out of this. I know we did. I love getting into this topic in more detail, and that's it's a real important one. So I know we're a little bit over, but maybe we can set aside 2 more minutes if anybody had any questions or comments for Jessica.
Ooh, we got baby entrepreneurs. I love it. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. It was a loaded presentation, I know.
Yeah, it was a lot of all great content. And a reminder too that we will be sending this information out, the slide deck and also the recording to all of you who registered, and also for anybody who registered, this will go out. But yeah, we definitely recommend that you do register for our next upcoming workshop.
I think a question came in. It says, I was wondering if paying for ads on social media is worth it. The answer is yes, but you have to do it wisely, right? This is why it's important for you to understand who your target market is. I've done paid ads where it's asking me, who am I targeting? If they're asking you these questions, if you're doing it too broad, you're going to be attracting the wrong customers, because I can do a paid ad, right, with the wrong information. So let's just say, let's use Maravillosa Movement as an example. My main target market are women entrepreneurs, right? But if I tell social media it's everyone, and then I end up getting 1,000 men following me, awesome. Now I have 1,000 extra followers on social media, but are they converting into sales? So you have to have a clear understanding of who that target market is, so you can tell your paid ads, this is exactly who I want you to target. I hope that answered your question. Yes. Okay, awesome. I have one more. How can we optimize our social media ads? I think it goes again with, first of all, before you do an ad, I hope that you have a goal in mind. Is it because you're just trying to bring in more traffic to your social media platform and eventually go into your website? Is it because you have a new workshop happening and you want them to attend your workshop? Is it that you're having, see, I just keep thinking about my business as an example, right? But it could be so many things. Maybe you have a promotion, maybe you have a new product, maybe you have a deadline for something. So you have to be clear on that first. And then again, it goes back to understanding who that person is, so you can make sure that you're tailoring that messaging correctly. Sort of like the email that I received, right, where it called me babe. So are you calling your customers babe? Probably not, or maybe, right? But you just got to have a clear understanding of that. So you could optimize it by talking to them in their language, in their tone, in their world. If you talk to me in slang, I probably wouldn't know what you're saying. But if you were to tell that to a teenager and that is your target market, that's all that matters. Go ahead, Asha. You're on mute.
I'm glad you can see my mouth move. Okay, so my business is kind of like two things, right?
Okay,
It
okay.
is I'm pre-revenue, so this is all hypothetical at this moment. I'm starting up a fish fry stand. Fish fry is like a southern style fried fish.
Okay.
Fish fry is also an event. And that
Oh,
is also what I'm doing.
okay.
I'm doing fish fry pop-ups where I just sell food, but I'm also going to do fish fry events, which like partner with local artists, creatives, creating some sort of community because that's what a fish fry is. It is a communal food event.
Okay.
So when it comes to, because I feel like this is all marketing, knowing your target audience.
Mm-hmm.
My question is,
How do you market yourself for both?
yes, and not just
Yes.
one.
Okay. So it sounds so to me that tells me that you have two audiences or two target. So you have your target market and you have the segmentation, right? Who's your bread and butter?
The food.
The food. So that would be your business to consumer.
Yeah.
Okay. So where are they? Are
They
they
are,
on like
they're, yes.
okay. So let me kind of just so I can elaborate a little bit faster, right? So for me, I have two as well.
Okay.
I work with organizations such as CIELO, right? And then I do one-on-one. Organizations like CIELO are my bread and butter. So I do a lot of that marketing completely different than I do it with my one-on-one. My one-on-one, I talk to them over on Instagram, completely different than I do with my organizations over on LinkedIn. So again, it goes back to knowing your two audiences and how they communicate, right? And then
Yeah.
what is your goal? And then from there, that's how you're sharing the content.
And just having two different strategies.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Um, I think that's it. Oh, in terms of social media, if you are rebranding, restructuring your business, would it be damaging to restart your social media? Um, that's a good question, Jason. And I almost don't feel comfortable giving advice on this one because I wouldn't exactly know. But I could tell you that there is nothing wrong with you letting your customers know that you're rebranding. That example that I showed you about the staffing agency, my husband completely facelift that logo. And they let them know that we changed our logo. Now, what I would probably do if I were to be starting all over again is if that following is not even close to my ideal client, right? So again, it takes more work to gain new followers and retaining the ones that you have. So if you're looking at that group of following and they're your potential clients, then why not just keep them and let them know that you're rebranding versus starting all over from scratch unless you know like okay, I have 500 followers and they're literally like my mom, my sister, my cousins, my neighbors. If they're not relevant, then okay. But I think that that's a tricky one. You have to measure the pros and cons. Um, is it unwise to sell merchandise for a company before the story's future? Uh, I can't see. I am blind. Can you see,
You want me to
Alex?
read it?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
So, is it unwise to sell merchandise for my company before the stories featuring the characters that make up the merchandise have had their stories published or released? Because a lot of artists make a lot of money. Oh, sorry. Because a lot of artists make a lot of money selling merch on of characters just based off of the designs instead of people having to read or watch the products featuring those characters.
That
A
sounds
lot of
more like
concern. Yeah.
yeah, that sounds more like a marketing strategy, to be honest. I don't think that there's anything wrong with you selling products before it's even announced in any kind of way. It literally is all about how you deliver that message. Like we had a pre-sale and it's sold out, and I have really great news, and we're happy to actually open it to the public. It's like there's so many different ways that you can word it, because nobody knows. Only you know that. So just think about your message. If you feel like it's bringing you money, honey, I would jump on it. I wouldn't bother to worry whether it was open to the public or not.
Some all good questions. I know it's we're a few minutes past, so I think we'll go ahead and end it now. However, this is going to be continue on. Our next workshop does play off of this one, so I definitely do
Mhm.
encourage all of you to register for that workshop. I know the registration's already open, and you will get more emails for that as well too. And be aware, we'll also send out this recording along with the slide deck as well. But again, thank you, Jessica, for coming out and doing your thing and doing your workshop. And thank you all for attending as well. And look forward to seeing you at our next event. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. Have a
Thank
good
you
night.
all.
I sent y'all LinkedIn requests.
Sounds good.